Good morning, everybody. We are back for part two. Savanna is getting here in about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes or so. When she gets here, we'll get her unloaded, we'll get her in the pen, and after we do that, we'll start talking to you guys a little bit about our quarantine process. Mama. Hi. Welcome home. You wanna come say hi to me? Huh? Come here.
She's like, no thanks.
No thanks, I'm eating grass. Okay. Well, right here. You are a big girl. You are a beautiful big girl, huh? Well, we're happy you're here. You made it. And your little baby's inside. All right, guys, like I said earlier, today is a very special day. Not only did we get our bred sow here, Savanna, I also convinced Cayla to help me out today on this side of the camera. So, lucky you guys, right? It's about time. So, first thing we did was we sprayed down the tires of the truck and the trailer from the transporter. That's part of our biosecurity protocol. Anything that's gonna come onto this property needs to be sprayed down. You never know what might be on their tires, what farm they came from last, where they been. You don't know any of that. So that's just a safety precaution we take, just to try to protect our herd. But I think that would be good for a different video than this, our biosecurity. We're not gonna get into that right now. What we are gonna get into is Savanna and our protocol for quarantine. Now, a very important thing to start out with is to talk to the seller of your pig. Find out what's been done, what it needs. A few good questions are vaccines. What's their schedule, if they do any? Deworming. What's their schedule? What do they use? And then you can go even deeper. What type of feed are they using? How much? Get a feel for your new animal and the best steps to take to transition that animal onto your property. Right? Because we all don't do things the same, so we want to make it as easy as possible on the animal. First off, all right, Cayla talked to Joe. We have figured out the worming schedule, right, that he uses, and we are going to now introduce our worming schedule to her. It's time, and per our protocol, any quarantine animal goes through this procedure no matter what. And what is our procedure?
So once she's here, we assess if there is any external parasites. We have looked her over thoroughly. There is no sign of lice, mites, eggs, anything like that. Doesn't mean that there isn't something or that she caught something during transport. We've never had issues with that. This is just more of a precaution that we do. So we use 3 different dewormers. We like to start with Dectomix. 10 days later we use ivermectin, and 10 days later we use Safeguard. So Dectomix stays in the blood longer. If you're dealing with any type of external parasites or using it as a precaution like we are, that's just going to stay in her blood longer. It's really going to knock it out a lot faster. Ivermectin is still a good replacement. If you don't have Dectomix, ivermectin will do the same thing, just doesn't stay in the blood as long.
And that's actually our second shot that we give.
Right. So then the second dose, so 10 days after we use Dectomix, then we use ivermectin. Dectomix and ivermectin, they handle a lot of the same things, but what they don't do is kill the eggs. So that's why you need to do 10 days later, more hatch out, you do another dose. So then 10 days after we give ivermectin, we do Safeguard. So Safeguard actually kills everything that Dectomix and ivermectin cover, but it also kills any residual eggs that are left over.
Right.
So we feel that that is a complete, we are completely covered. She is going into our herd completely void of parasites, and
It's a good start for her.
right.
So yeah, once again, first shot is Dectomax. 10 days later, ivermectin. 10 days later, Safeguard. Right? And that covers everything. That animal should be as clean as possible
Right.
After that sequence there.
Yep.
So some things to consider when you're coming up with your own protocol for your farm is parasite resistance. Right? You don't want to use one dewormer constantly all the time. That, like I said, that can create parasite resistance. That's why part of the reason why we use all three, not only to break the cycle, but also avoid parasite resistance.
You also don't want to use too little. So if you are not killing them off, they can build resistance because, they got a little taste for what you gave, but it didn't kill them. So
Give them a little superpower, little
Right.
super worms in
we
there.
don't want that. It's very important that you know what the weight of your animal is. You don't really want to be guessing on it. You want to make sure. And then you want to dose them appropriately, and then you want to break the cycle of the parasite.
Right. You don't want too little of the dewormer or too much. I mean, it's made the way it's made specifically for weight.
Right.
So you want to be pretty sure on what you're actually giving them. All right, on to the next thing, vaccination. Right? We talked to Joe. Joe does not vaccinate, so there is no need for us to vaccinate her. That's it.
Right. We can
the
evaluate
next.
that at a different time,
Right.
not while she's on quarantine. So at this time, we're not giving anything else.
Right. I mean, in the future, if something were to pop up or whatever, we'll deal with it as we need to deal with it.
Right.
But right now, no vaccinations, which is good. I like that. So on to the next thing is feed. We asked Joe how much does he feed per day, and what did he say?
So he feeds 5 pounds per day, and we see no need to change that. We're going to continue with what he's been doing until she farrows, and then we will transition her to our feeding protocol.
Right. We feed a little bit different, but as she's pregnant, we're just going to keep her going on the same path that she has been on.
Right.
So another thing we want to talk about is the 30-day process of quarantine. All right. What does quarantine mean? Quarantine means they are alone. They do not come in contact with any other animal. They do not come in contact with us. This here for the video will be the last time, if at all possible, we step foot in this area again until the 30 days is up. After we get out of this pen, after this video, we will be disinfecting our boots. We'll be washing our hands. It's all very important during quarantine. All right, we know where this one came from. We know the situation it came from, but you don't always. And even though they look beautiful and healthy right now, you never know what might pop up a few days later, right? Another important part is the feeding of them and the chores of your quarantine animal. What do you suggest we do there?
So you don't want to be.
All right.
We got
All right,
distracted.
interrupter. Let's see what you got. Holy cow! It's Iron Man
With Spider-Man boots.
with Spider-Man boots. All right, back to business. Apparently she doesn't want to hang out with us anymore. She went over there to eat some grass. But another important thing to touch on is our chores and how we handle chores with a quarantine animal, right?
Right.
So you want to explain to them what we do there?
So anything that we use to take care of her, whether it's the boots that we wear, the bucket we bring her food, the bucket we bring water, her feed scoop, whatever it may be, whatever, like that is hers for the next 30 days.
Right. It does not go by any of the other feed stuff for the other animals.
Right.
Nothing. It stays separate.
So as an extra precaution, we take care of our other animals before taking care of her. So she is the last animal we will care for on our farm for that day.
Right. You know, even though we're not going to be coming in here, there's still a danger zone, let's put it, I mean, I would say about yay big on the other side of the fence. You know, she could pee on that side of the fence. She could be pooping and it could go over on that side of the fence. You know, so even though we're not coming directly in the pen, there's still a chance of stepping into something that could be dangerous for other animals.
Right.
And even though we take all of these precautions and we take them very seriously, you know, nothing is 100%. You know, all we can do is what we can do, and we're doing our best to protect our herd. That is our main goal. You know, something can always happen, you know, but I know, you know, that when we try this hard, there was pretty much nothing we could do about it. It's not our fault. We did what we thought, you know, needed to be done to protect our herd. You know, it's our decision to bring in another animal. It's our duty to protect our herd.
Right. And keep in mind that when we're transporting animals from out of state, whether it's coming to us or going somewhere else, they have already been inspected by a vet.
Right.
So this is all extra. You know, we are just taking that extra step.
Right. So next on the docket for quarantine procedure, we are going to give her her first dose of Dectomix. Now, Dectomix is, how should that be administered?
So it is a intermuscular injection, so we need to make sure that we have a needle that is long enough to get into the muscle.
Right. So we're using an 1.5 inch needle. That's going to give us plenty of room to get through the fat and into the actual muscle. Today I'm going to be using a slap shot. A couple things about a slap shot. You may have seen them, may have not. I don't know. Here it is. It's pretty much a hose.
Pretty impressive.
Right. Needle on one side, syringe on the other side. What it does is it gives you a little room to play, a little more time to get your full injection into them. Maybe as they take off, you know, it goes with them a little bit. So it helps you to get that injection completely into them. It sucks when you got to do it twice. You know, they learn quickly that you're going to give them a shot. So
we like to use the lure lock syringes and needles. So it's actually going to twist on instead of just kind of sliding on like the slip. So there's lure lock or slip needles and syringes. We just prefer to use the lure lock. You know, we don't want to chase them around to get a needle back out.
This seems to hold the needle pretty secure.
Yep.
So when they do take off, if they do, you know, that needle doesn't come off the hose. It actually still comes out of the pig.
Right.
So that is what we're going to do. Let's get some feed in her bucket here and see if we can get her back out of her house. She's been playing in the wallow and she's ate, I don't know how much grass she's been mowing today so far. So I think she's going to take a little nap, but we need to do this. Well, we were about to try and get her out of her house, but looks like she came out anyways. So we're going to pour some feed and see if she'll just come over to the feed.
Yep.
The wind's blowing that direction. She'll smell it, I think.
Yeah.
Or,
I think we just go a little bit like this. Come on.
I think she knows. Hey, girl.
You want some of this? Yes, please. Triangle.
All right, as far as placement of where you're going to put the shots, kind of between the ear and the shoulder. That area kind of makes up a triangle, right? And we're going to put this right in the middle of that triangle. We're going to kind of get that area used to being touched and something feeling on it. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. All right, guys. Well, I think that about does it for our quarantine process, unless we forgot something. Which,
I'll remember after we're done.
probably. She'll make me put it in later.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll do it for now. Looks like Savannah went back to go hide in her house because she's mad at me now, but she'll get over it. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.